Hey y'all, is DMZ better than Tarkov? Well, DMZ is a lot less hardcore. It's much easier to gear up in DMZ, taking only about one raid to find a large backpack, 3 raid kill streak, and a self-revive kit, which basically equates to being fully geared in DMZ, so there's a lot less progression gear-wise, but it also makes it less hardcore and a lot easier for casuals to get fully geared. The time to kill is also pretty low, like Tarkov. However, unlike Tarkov, you cannot be like one tapped in the face with Makarov. And while some people say that reduces the skill ceiling, I'd argue that as a fully geared player, there's nothing more frustrating than getting one tap to the face by someone who's risking nothing in raid. Additionally, the time to kill is low enough that even if you're playing solo or as a duo, fighting a 3-man squad does not feel impossible. If they're a really good squad, then they will beat you eventually. But it's not impossible to fight them, and it definitely doesn't feel as bad as the Cycle Frontier, where if you're a solo and you're playing against a kitted 3-man squad, it's actually just impossible to fight them because of how high the time to kill is. In this game, you can beam someone and they will be downed, and as long as they don't have a self-revive kit, they should be fine. Though I do think that it should only take like 1 or 2 shots to kill someone once they're downed. I think that needs to be tweaked a little bit. Next, the DMZ's queue time is much shorter than Tarkov's, meaning there's less downtime between raids, which honestly the downtime between raids is like what makes Tarkov not as fun as it could be. I just don't like waiting for like 5 to 7 minutes while finding a match, just to be like one shot in the match 30 seconds later. So unfortunately, it's not as short as the Cycle Frontier since it doesn't have persistent raids, but it's not a 5 to 7 minute wait between raids. Next, grenades and utilities feel useful but aren't as OP as Tarkov's nades. I mean, being naded across the map by Scav boss's minion is frustrating as hell. So I definitely like the grenades and utilities in this raid, and if you get like hit by a stun grenade or a flash, you're probably dead. But I think they're in a good place, honestly. The game is free. This is like amazing because Tarkov, the top version of Tarkov, costs $140, which is absolutely crazy. Really expensive for the average gamer. And while you can buy Tarkov for like $40, you're put at a pretty big disadvantage each wipe against people who bought the EOD edition. And so in DMZ, if you don't have the full like MW2 game, then you'll only have 10 contraband stash slots instead of 20, which not the best. I mean, also I think that, just a quick aside, I think that they should make it so that you can buy extra contraband slots with like out of raid money. That would give some more progression. Also being able to buy key slots, stuff like that. But sorry, quick aside there, but it's really nice the game is free. It makes it open to a lot more people who don't have the money always to buy something that's like $140. So yeah. So AI and DMZ are nowhere near as cracked as the AI in Tarkov. They will beam you every once in a while, and it's pretty frustrating when they do. They also shoot through smokes, which is definitely a bug that the developers need to get figured out. However, generally they'll miss their first set of shots, giving you time to run to cover, and they seem to get like more accurate over time as you don't get to cover. So really, you just got to get to cover, and they won't shoot you. And they don't snap to your head on one tap you across the map like Sturman does. So definitely very nice. In DMZ, you are given a lot of options of what to do on the map. If you want PvP, you can choose to go fight the Juggernaut and obtain the weapons case, and then the PvP will definitely come to you. If you want casual PvE, then you can do HVT contracts or strongholds. I love the idea of being able to extract the weapons case and the PvP that it drives. They need to add more things like this across the map, at least like one more event, and then maybe change them between seasons, like of the battle pass or whatever. I know that most people, like a lot of people, have already extracted the weapons case 7 times, at least the hardcore players have, and they need to add more progression like this. And it's such a wonderful idea. It drives PvP for the people that want it, and it takes the PvP away from the people who don't want it. So this is just like one of the best things in the game, and they need to add more. One last thing, DMZ is way more fun when playing in a squad than solo. The AI can be especially brutal if you have no one to pick you up or if you don't have a self-revive, so definitely try to play in a squad. Even just going in as solo and getting put in a squad, it's not that bad. A lot of people are really friendly, just VoIP with them, and it's great. And also, the map is enormous and it feels alive with AI and players. Even though the map is enormous, it's relatively easy to traverse across it with vehicles that are placed everywhere. My friend and I were trying to extract the other day, and it was like the countdown, the last extract, and we were on the other side of the map from the extract, but we managed to take a vehicle over in 2 minutes. It basically only takes 2 minutes to drive across the entire map in a vehicle, and we got to the last extract with like 1 second remaining. So pretty crazy. Honestly, sometimes the game feels like you're in a movie when you're extracting. It's pretty awesome. So DMZ does need a lot of work though. It is absolutely riddled with bugs, and even though they put a beta across it, that doesn't excuse the amount of bugs that are present in DMZ. It's actually crazy. I think they needed to do way more testing before releasing it. But honestly, I mean, hopefully having all the people playing it and finding the bugs will help them, but it's just very frustrating when you're fully kitted and then you just crash, right? It's like, I've quit the game a couple of times just because I crashed and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I know some people like crash every single game. It's actually crazy, and that makes DMZ basically impossible for them, because crashing is like one of the worst feelings in the game, and then you can't even reconnect. Like, what? How in the world are there not reconnect features in a game in like 2022? That's absolutely insane. Like, I don't know what the hell Activision was thinking, but that is just stupid. So that's like one of the most important features in the game, where losing all of your gear feels like being punched in the dick. Honestly, like that. It's crazy that they don't have a reconnect feature. Just one of the worst things that they've done. Next, there should be a tutorial on explaining how loadouts work, how insurance weapons and contracts work. I mean, it came pretty naturally to me because I've played games like this before, but for the majority of the audience who play COD, I doubt they played Tarkov. Most of them are on Xbox and PS4, right? So they need to have a tutorial explaining how the mode works, because it's not self-explanatory, and not everyone's going to want to go watch YouTube videos for half the day explaining how it works. So I wish there was some sort of persistent money between raids and some out-of-raid stash, making looting feel more meaningful. Even if it was just gathering money over time to unlock a weapon blueprint, or buying weapon blueprints from a rotating shop would also be really cool. I can't imagine that would be too hard for the developers to implement, but honestly, I don't know. So they also just need to add more forms of progression other than just unlocking new weapon insurance slots. Once I'm done with contracts, which by the way aren't the worst, but a lot of them are grueling and are not very fun to complete, and I have finished all of my 7 weapon cases, other than PvP, there won't really be much for me to do in DMZ, because all the progression will be done. So they need to add more out of raid progression, and I mean, one of the ways they could do this is they could use guns. They could make it so that you can use gunsmith on contraband weapons, and maybe like we could buy attachments from an out-of-range shop, and then maybe buy the ability to gunsmith one of our contraband weapons and put them on there, like sort of like Blackout was. I love Blackout. I think it was one of the best BRs was ever released, and honestly I wish you could find attachments in raid as well. Let's see. So I think coming to the end, DMZ isn't like no Tarkov killer. It definitely doesn't have the progression that Tarkov does, but I think that they can add it over time and really turn it into a wonderful game for the casual player base. It does add competition for Tarkov. This is like the first AAA like true attempt at a game like this, and I think it's a lot of fun. Definitely go try out DMZ if you haven't yet. It's free, so there's no reason not to. DMZ will introduce a large population of people who have never played an extraction looter shooter before to this genre, and hopefully it will grow the genre as a whole, and they really could turn this into an amazing gem and a really fun game that it just needs a lot of work. And yeah, so I hope Activision pulls it off. I mean, screw Activision, but thanks for watching, y'all. Good luck in your raids this week, and have a great day.